Alrighty, let's do this real quick because I'm about to go to class. So an angle theta lies in the wait. Okay. An angle theta lies. Forget about that. Lies in the fourth quadrant. All right, fourth quadrant, and satisfies cosine of theta is 5/13. Right? Cosine of theta is 5/13. Use a reference triangle to find sine of theta, tan of theta, secant of theta, or cosecant of theta. So we are given cosine of theta over 5/13. Now I would say, actually, you know what? I would say look at this first. It lies in the fourth quadrant. Okay. What does that mean? It lies in the fourth quadrant. That means it lies in the fourth quadrant. But what else does that mean? That means, right, we are going to be using, all students take calculus, and if you do not know what that is what would that be? I guess it would be I don't know what the word for it is, but it's a kind of acronym to use to figure out when it's positive, or when a specific trig function is positive. So if it's in the first quadrant, everything is positive. Second quadrant, sine and cosecant are positive, are the only things positive. Third quadrant, tangent and cotangent are the only things positive. And in the last one, cosine and secant are the only things that are positive. So immediately when we go in the fourth quadrant, that means only cosine and secant are positive. So, which is why we see that here, cosine is positive in the problem. And we're gonna go see cosine, and so now there is no secant actually, but you know what, we'll do that because we're go-getters. We'll do extra work, right? Yeah. So that's the only thing that's gonna be positive. Everything else, negative, right? And we're also gonna use something else called, I don't know if y'all could see it, so now, if you're watching this video, I assume you already know what this is, but for a brief breakdown, it represents sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So it says to use a reference triangle. So, I mean, we can draw a triangle. I mean, it'd probably be easier. To do it without like a reference triangle, but we can do that. So, right, here's our triangle, 90-degree triangle, right? So, we are given cosine of theta. Now, what does cosine mean, right? We're gonna go back to SOHCAHTOA. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so we already have the adjacent, right? We can assume there's an angle here, right? Theta, this would be angle theta. So that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So that means hypotenuse is 13, adjacent is 5. And this, we do not have the opposite, unfortunately. Because we do not have the opposite, we have to try to find it because, you know, tangent requires opposite over adjacent, so we need opposite, right? And this is where the Pythagorean theorem comes in, right? Which is a squared, where can I put this? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. In this case, it's gonna be a squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. All right, so, you know, just doing it. I don't know if y'all can, hold on, I gotta make sure y'all can, okay, you guys can see that. All right, so that's, right, 5 times 5, 25, so that's a squared plus 25 equals 13 times 13, you know, you can do it over here, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 1 is 3, 0, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1, in which we get 9, 3 plus 3 is 6, 169, right? So it's gonna equal 1, 6, 9. right? And what we're gonna do, right, is from this point, we're gonna subtract 25, right? A regular algebra equation, right? A squared equals, and then you're gonna do 169 minus 25, in which, 9 minus 5, 4, 6 minus 2 is 4, and then 1. So it's gonna be a squared equals 144, right? And then now you're gonna have to take the square root of both sides. So square root of 144 to square root of a. Now, usually, or you should be given a calculator, especially if you're not in college yet. But most of the time you should kind of know. And you can, if you can't easily do it, then even if they might deduct points, you can just leave it as root 44. But usually you'll know that, it'll be 12, because 12 times 12 is, 144. I can do it on the side real quick. 2 times 2 is 4. 2, put the 0, 2, 1, 4, 4, 1, right? So A equals 12. And technically it's plus or minus 12, but you can't have a negative side. That's not possible, Like if I walk from here to here, right? I can't walk negatively. That's not possible, So A is 12. Now we have A, or should I say the opposite, right? So now we are given right? And then here, take a screenshot if you need. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this. Now we have, opposite equals 12. Yeah, opposite equals 12, hypotenuse equals 13, and adjacent equals 5. And you can put a 13 here to finish off your reference triangle. Oh my God, I'm choking on the chalk. So now it's just a basic SOHCAHTOA, right? You write that down, you have all the answers you need. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, opposite is 12, hypotenuse is 13, 12 over 13, and do not forget there is a negative there, so you can kind of close it off to show that it is negative, because again, all students take calculus, and since it's in the fourth quadrant, anything but cosine or secant is gonna be negative, or gonna be anything but cosine and secant are gonna be negative, yeah. So that's negative 12 over 13, and then tan is opposite over hypotenuse. So again, this is negative 2, so that's going to be tan opposite. What is that? Wait, no, tan. Wait, I did something wrong. Opposite over, tan is opposite over adjacent. Okay, yeah, okay. My bad, I did that wrong. Okay, usually the way I do it, at least in my homework, is it's sine, cosine, so I immediately think, okay, these two are gonna be the same. My bad. See, that's why you gotta always make sure you gotta double check, right? So tan of, is gonna be opposite over adjacent, so adjacent is what, it's 5, right? And then opposite is 12, and that's gonna be negative. Cosecant, now all cosecant is the opposite of sine, so what is sine? Negative 12 over 13, that is gonna be negative 13 over 12. And what is secant? Well, secant is literally just the opposite of cosine. So cosine was given here, so it's 13 over 5. And that is it. That's it. Done. It's honestly to be honest, it's quite easy once you kind of get it down. But you do need to know about SOHCAHTOA. You do need to know about all students take calculus. And you do need to know about right triangle stuff. Either way, I hope y'all enjoyed and wish me luck on my quiz.